This video gives a short introduction to the TWAP Groundwater Programme and the online data and information portal. TWAP Groundwater is a component of the Transboundary Waters Assessment Programme, TWAP, which also included assessment of the international rivers, lakes, large marine ecosystems and the open ocean. TWAP Groundwater assessed 199 transboundary aquifers, TBAs, and the groundwater systems of 42 small island developing states, SIDS. Data for the global inventory was provided by national experts, and additional information for the large TBAs came from simulations with the Global Water Gap Model. Data for the SIDS was collected through an extensive literature study complemented by data from national experts. TWAP is a comparative assessment, meaning that the programme did not assess individual aquifers in depth, but that the TBAs are described by means of indicators. 20 TWAP groundwater indicators were developed. Here you see the 10 core indicators. All results and the underlying methods are described in the TWAP groundwater reports, which are available online. But importantly, all results are also available in digital format for further analyses via the TWAP groundwater portal, which we will now demonstrate. At startup, an introductory screen is shown with some background information on the TWAP programme. Closing the introductory screen reveals the main window of the TWAP groundwater portal, with location of the TWAP transboundary aquifers and SIDS visible on the map. The catalogue on the left of the screen shows the folder structure containing all maps. The top two folders contain the data from the TWAP project, while the lower folders contain relevant maps from other sources, like the map of international river basins. Data from the World Hydrological Mapping Programme, like the map of saline groundwater, or a climate map. Now let's move on to the actual data from TWAP. The folder Transboundary Aquifers contains the data provided by national experts and the results from WaterGap. The folder has 3 subfolders. The top 2 contain the TWAP indicators, grouped in current state and projected indicators for 2030 and 2050. The bottom folder, Basic Parameters and Variables, contains the raw data which was used to calculate the indicators. Let's look at the indicators from the global inventory. The 2 subfolders are pretty much self-explanatory. One folder with aggregated data at the level of the complete aquifer, and a folder with data aggregated at the level of country segments. The folder contains maps of 20 groundwater indicators and a map showing data availability. The layer Data Intensity gives a quick impression of data availability for each aquifer, and you will find this layer in all folders containing data from the global inventory. Now let's look at one of the indicators, groundwater recharge. Recharge values are categorized in 5 ranges based on the legend which is shown in the lower left corner. The map gives a quick overview of the recharge distribution to compare TBAs with each other. But if you want to know the exact recharge value for a TBA, you can use the feature info. This functionality is activated by default. We'll first zoom in a bit and then click on an aquifer. The feature information is shown, which contains basic information like the aquifer name and code, but also the data provided to calculate the indicator. And at the bottom, the exact value of that indicator. The feature information also gives access to transboundary aquifer information sheets through this hyperlink at the top. The TBA information sheets are informative documents of a couple of pages which have been compiled for each transboundary aquifer and for each small island developing state. We'll return to the viewer. We have accessed the feature information for one country segment of a TBA, but it is also possible to view or download the feature info for the complete map layer. One way to do this is to unfold the feature table by pressing this little button in the top right corner. This table shows the same type of data as explained before, but now in table format for all country segments. The table can also be downloaded in Excel format by pressing this button here. Alternatively, the feature information table can also be downloaded by right-clicking on the active map layer and selecting Download Excel. The Excel files can be used for further offline processing. All of the data, including the results from the Global Water Use Model WaterGap, can be accessed in a similar way. For example, the map of future hotspots. This map is a combination of different layers from the WaterGap model study. Discussion of maps and results is provided in the TWAP Groundwater main report, which can be accessed via the TWAP Groundwater website, directly from the viewer. Similarly, the user can go directly to the TWAP main website with results from all TWAP components. One of the advantages of digital maps is that it is easy to create overlays to compare different datasets. We had already activated the recharge indicator from the global inventory. To compare these data with the recharge values from the WaterGap modelling, we can simply activate that layer. The map showing the recharge values from the WaterGap model for the aquifers larger than 20,000 square kilometres is now shown on top of the recharge values from the global inventory. In the Active Layers window, the user can manipulate the order of the maps and the transparency of maps. The feature window, which was shown earlier, will now contain the feature information of all activated layers, as can be seen here. Now let's have a look at some of the raw data provided by national experts. This data is contained in the folder Basic Parameters and Variables. As this data is the foundation of the global inventory, national experts were asked to provide references for the data, and these references are available via the feature window. The feature info refers to a publication which has been used to fill out the specific section of the questionnaire. Clicking the link, we get access to the short reference and the full reference. We will go back to the feature info. Or by clicking here, we get the complete list of references used for this section. The next element worth showing is the dedicated button to find specific information sheets directly from a list. The list is opened by pressing this button. To find a specific information sheet, the list can be sorted by type. For example, to find the information sheets for all SIDS, one can order the list by type. The search box can also be used. For example, to find the information sheet for Mauritius, let's return to the viewer. Data for the SIDS can be visualized in the same way as the data for the transboundary aquifers, and data is structured in much the same way, with that exception that there is no data from WaterGap for the SIDS. The folder Small Island Developing States contains all data from the SIDS assessment. For mapping purposes, the challenge with the Small Island Developing States is the fact that they are small. Therefore, it is also possible to zoom into a location by entering the name in the search window. For example, to find the island Aruba, we can simply enter Aruba in the search window. Clicking on the island now gives some basic information of the SIDS and provides direct access to the SIDS information sheet of Aruba. However, if the user wants to compare between islands, zooming in on one island at a time is not very useful. Zooming out to the whole world will make the islands too small. Therefore, at a certain scale, the system visualizes the islands as circles, so that indicator results from different islands can be compared. Here Here, you see an example of an indicator specific to the SIDS, indicating the observed zones of seawater intrusion as percentage of the total island area. Because the portal is built using OGC standards, it is also very easy to temporarily add maps from external sources to the viewer. Maps from any WMS service can be added if you have the web address by using this button and entering the URL of a WMS service. For now, we will select a map of pre-selected WMS services, like the WMS service provided by the TWAP Rivers component. We have now loaded a map with international river basins directly from the UNEP server. In a similar way, we can add lots of data from the Centre for International Earth Science Information Network, like the population data which was used for population-related indicators throughout all TWAP components. We conclude this demo with a glimpse of the Global Groundwater Information System, GGIS, into which the TWAP portal has been integrated. By pressing GGIS Home page, we leave the TWAP Groundwater portal and arrive at the landing page of the GGIS. The GGIS is set up and maintained by IGRAC, and it gives users a single entry point to several databases with spatial data on groundwater worldwide. The home page lists all available modules with similar functionality as the TWAP viewer, but containing different data either at a global scale or detailed information at aquifer scale, for example from TWAP Level 2 assessments. With this, we conclude the introduction of the TWAP Groundwater Data and Information Portal. And please have a look at the project website and explore the TWAP data portal for yourself.